Detach yourself from technology whenever possible and feel the real world around you. Hey everyone, Tactical Timmy here. I wanted to talk about the difference between two different philosophies when it comes to investing in gold and silver and more investing in general, and how the two different philosophies are using technology to our advantage and going back to the old way of doing things, keeping it old school. And I use this analogy between two different watches here. This watch right here is the fanciest, newest Garmin Instinct 2, where it'll keep track of your heart rate, it'll do your pedometer, it has GPS built in, it'll suggest workouts, track your sleep, and do just about everything you could ever want from a watch. On the other hand, we have a little Sunto Core, which is, what I would consider just the standard duty watch that it's a beater and it can take some abuse. It has ABC functions, so it does have an altimeter, barometer, and compass, but pretty much just tells the time. Outside of that, it doesn't do much more than that. And you can do a lot of the same things with these two watches. You can go out and still go to the gym in both of them. You can still go do work. You can be rough on either one of these, and you're still going to be able to get the job done. They both still tell the time at the end of the day. So what are the advantages of having all this new technology, and what are the advantages of going back to that old school way of doing things? I think it's really, really important to know how to use both, and we can take advantage of both of those when it comes to our investing philosophies. Let's talk about this newer school and using technology to our advantage. A large part of investing is making sure that you are consistent with your investments. So if you're going to be consistent with your investments, I'm a huge fan of automatic investing, and myself, I am a big fan of actually automatically investing in the stock market and investing into index funds. I think that that's something that's really important, especially when it comes to your retirement savings and your 401k accounts and your IRAs. That's something that you should be automatically putting into every single month, no matter what. Dollar cost averaging your way into your stock market position. And there's a lot of different apps that can actually help you do that and make it super, super easy for you to accomplish that task. And with a simple click of the button, you can not have to think about that for years into the future. Now, on the other hand, it used to be you had to actually call up your broker and it would cost you a commission and you'd have to do a lot of work to actually invest in the stock market. And we've saved a lot of those things now. You don't have to put in quite as much work in order to do that. So do we get advantages from actually going back and doing it the old school? Well, I think that you certainly can learn a lot about learning how to pick individual stocks and doing your own market research and your own investment research. You end up learning a ton about stocks, and I encourage everyone to go out and try playing the stock market game, even if it's not with real money, and seeing how hard it actually is to beat the market when it comes to things, because oftentimes it's really, really difficult to beat the market, and it's hard to have the skills to perform as well as you can without technology as you can with technology, because you'll find that most people end up getting beat by the market when they compare themselves. So you'll learn a lot. That's probably the biggest thing about going back to the old way of doing things. And when we talk about being a gold and silver investor, well, we certainly talk a lot about going back to the old way of doing things and doing things back when there was a gold and silver standard and there was actually real value to the money, as opposed to when we talk about our fiat cash that doesn't have the value, but it is backed by the faith of the US government and the faith of the US taxpayers. So we think about this old way a lot, and this old way certainly does have benefits, but like we talked about before, it's gonna take a lot of knowledge and skill to be able to get as much out of gold and silver investing or doing it the old way, as opposed to simply using the technology. And a lot of that skill comes down to why we're actually on YouTube and why we are learning about gold and silver investing in the first place. Because gold and silver investing, you can't just jump in and expect to be able to make money on it. It's one of those things that it takes skill, and if you're not careful, you will lose out and likely never make any money gold or silver investing, because you're going to lose out to premiums. If I was to go out and buy any of these coins before you and try and go sell it next month. Oftentimes, I'm going to lose money even if the price has gone up by a few percentage points or even up to 10 percentage points because you're losing out on the premium. Also, you might be losing out on shipping costs and other costs associated with buying these physical coins. So it's not something that you can just go out, simply click invest on your brokerage account and make money on it. It's something that takes a lot of work and takes a lot of learning how to make money on your gold and silver investments, because it's not something that comes intuitive, and it's not something that we can technologically automate like we can when it comes to our stock market investing. Because when it comes to stock market investing, you can actually automate a lot of your things that you need to. So if it's really important for us to know how to actually go back and get away from using this technology, I think that this is something that we can find value both within our investing portfolios and actually taking a step back and not relying as much on our technology to do our investing for us. I encourage all of y'all to actually go out and see where your funds are going in your brokerage account. Understand what your mutual fund is actually buying within your retirement accounts, because you'll often find that you're surprised where your technology is putting your funds and what your technology is actually investing into. I also encourage you to learn how to actually invest in gold and silver and invest in that hedge and invest in that real way, and that's a very physical way to invest, and see how that actually affects you. And a lot of times it provides that peace of mind knowing that you don't have to rely on technology for forever. You can actually go back to the old school way of doing things and you will be okay for a set amount of time. That's often really, really helpful for us, is to see that, hey, worst case scenario, I can always go out and sell my gold and silver coins and I can make it for a limited amount of time. And that can give us a lot of peace of mind. Now, I don't think we have to completely throw the baby out with the bathwater, because technology today definitely makes our lives really, really easy. And that's something that we should not give up. I mean, I'm not out there, I'm not a complete Luddite that says you should completely give up your cell phones, because making plans on the fly and being able to actually go out and meet up with your friends on a moment's notice and research all number of things on your cell phone at any given time of day, not having to completely go back to the library. Although, like I've talked about before, I am a big fan of reading physical books, because that's something that really, really does improve our mind's ability to make those investment decisions that we need to. So I encourage you to go out there and know how to research things the old way, and also know how to do things the new way. So with this idea that taking a step back can have benefits and not relying on technology, I encourage each and every one of you to actually try this and actually put away the new stuff for a little bit. Go back to the old way and see if you learn something from going back to the old way. So one of the things that I used to do in college especially is I would put away the cell phone and the computer. At least I'd try and do it one day a week. In reality, it probably came down to one day a month, probably more realistic. But I'd try and put away the newer technology, and I'd try and go back to, only buying things with cash that day and only having a simple watch on my wrist and not actually being on the computer as much as possible. Now, oftentimes I would find that I would spend more time reading in that day. I would spend more time actually studying things from a book and writing physically, and actually have time to go to the gym, and I wouldn't get as distracted by the technology. Once I put the technology away, I focused more on the things in the real world and the things that were really in my control. I think that that's something that we can really, really learn from putting away technology, is that we'll see that, hey, there are things in our control and there are things out of our control. And there's no sense in spending time trying to control things that are well out of our control. I hope that you found this video useful, and I hope that you continue down this journey of knowing how to use our technology in a beneficial way, and also going back and seeing the old ways of how things were done in the past and taking what you can from the old way and applying it to what we're doing in the future, whether it's gold and silver investing or our stock investing in general. I hope that you apply these different lessons to all of your investments and use these strategies to improve yourself and get the best returns possible. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you continue to join me on the Tactical Timmy YouTube channel. I know I've really been enjoying putting together some different video ideas, and I hope to see you again in the future. Take care.